How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another combo movie review, as I'm taking two films, both of which are potential Oscar contenders that are going to be vying for competition now that we're kind of basically in the midst of award season, or at least getting very close to it. And the first is the directorial debut of Lin-Manuel Miranda in a film starring Andrew Garfield, based on a stage show that detailed the life of one of the most prolific playwrights in recent years, and that film is Tick, Tick, Boom.
This is the life of Bo 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 Bo. This is the life of Bo 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 Bo. This is the life of Bo 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 Bo. Bohemia. Bohemia. Bo 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 Bo.
Based around true events, Jonathan Larson is a struggling New York playwright desperately working on his big break, which may be closer than it seems if only he can finish putting the pieces together for his rock opera, Superbia. However, his obsession with completing this begins to cause ripples in his personal life with his best friend and girlfriend. So for any non-theatre geeks out there, Jonathan Larson was a real guy. He wrote quite a few plays and musicals in his 20s and ended up producing the immensely popular musical Rent. You know, the one that has that song where it's like 525,600 minutes? That one. But he died before Rent actually hit Broadway, so he never really got to see the full manifestation of his work, but yet his determination and perseverance has been an inspiration for many, including Lin-Manuel Miranda. His life was subsequently transformed into a musical, and said musical has now been transformed into a feature film adaptation. And so with all of these components interweaved, I honestly thought I was going to adore Tick, Tick, Boom. I wanted to love it, but I'm just settling it. I liked it. And here's why. Sometimes, whenever it comes to adaptations, what may have worked in its original format may not always translate brilliantly onto the big screen. And whether it's because this is his debut as a director, or because he holds the life and source material of Jonathan Larson so closely, I just don't think that Lin-Manuel Miranda was the right pick to direct this. It's frequently scattershot. It's dipping and flitting back and forth between a play and the past that the play is kind of basing itself on. And it almost feels like Miranda is just wanting to check off a fact list. Like, yep, we've got this, we've got that, and we've got that. It needed a lot more emotion and heart imbued into the story. I wanted to feel a lot more than the film was letting me. That being said, there are plenty of bright spots, the biggest being Andrew Garfield. He has easily secured himself a Best Actor nomination. Honestly, it could be his best performance. At the moment, I'm kind of stuck between this, his performance in The Social Network, which should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but also his performance in Hacksaw Ridge. He's so upbeat, so full of passion and energy, but it's always tinged with a little bit of sadness, knowing that the excellence of this real man was so suddenly cut short. It's some of Garfield's best work. And who knew he could sing? He didn't even know he could sing. He literally found out that he could sing as he was training for the film. I hate that he's able to do this. Robin DeJesus also brings it. I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit more screen time, but the moments that we got from him are absolutely delightful. And the same kind of goes for Alexandra Shipp. She's kind of a bit sidelined as the love interest that gets disgruntled and forgotten about, as Larson is so set on finishing this play that she gets left behind. But she gets a couple of musical numbers that really land well. And the music is all magnificent. Some are going to get lodged in your head, and some are just really excellently written. But yeah, I simply wanted to feel more when watching Tick, Tick, Boom. Garfield is sublime, the songs are great, and the potential was right there for the taking. But I just don't think that Lin-Manuel Miranda as a director was quite ready to pull this off. Some of the directorial choices either didn't work or didn't fully capitalize on the emotion at hand. But watch it for Andrew Garfield at least. He's so good. So I'm going to give Tick Tick Boom a 6 out of 10. And now from one potential awards contender to another, vying for all the glory, is Ridley Scott's second film of the year, House of Gucci.
Gucci. It was a name that sounded so sweet, so seductive.
Come, meet the family.
Hey everybody, this is Patricia, and this is my family.
They had it all. Wealth, style, power. Who wouldn't care for that?
Featuring a star-studded cast, House of Gucci details the Gucci family conflict as they war over ownership and creative control of the Gucci brand. Enter Patrizia Reggiani, who marries into the family and slowly but surely turns everything on its head to try and have the whole damn cake. Once again, on paper, this could have been special. You have one of the most star-studded casts I've seen all year. You have the great Sir Ridley Scott at the helm. A story full of lies, deceit, backstabbing that it could have been mistaken for an Italian version of Dallas. But as you can tell, it didn't pan out that way. House of Gucci was a real disappointment for me. For starters, I don't think that Ridley Scott was the right fit to direct this. It clocks in at over 2.5 hours. So a film like this, it needs to move. It needs energy. It needs pace. And Ridley Scott just didn't bring anything. There's like no energy to this film whatsoever. When it stops, it slams the brakes on so hard, you struggle to get the car moving again. For a film all about style, there's shockingly little. Like, the costumes, surprise surprise, are all gorgeous, but that's about it. It's a remarkably dull movie. And that's also to do with the dialogue and the story. There are some painful lines of dialogue here, mostly uttered by Jared Leto. We'll touch on him, but it feels so painfully scripted. Like, this is a real story. All of this kinda happened. I don't know how much has been exactly embellished, but I don't know why it feels so fake. And as for the story, I mean, look, you've got Scott trying to balance the tone of whether he wants this to be taken seriously or whether it's a trashy Italian soap opera. And so the story winds up being unengaging, which, once again, a 2.5 hour film, you really need that story to click. Otherwise, you're sat there wondering, will this just hurry up and please finish? And then there are the performances. Look, the accents, I don't think they're that great, but they don't spoil the movie. Like, I was never taken out of the film because the accents are atrocious. What did stand out, however, besides, I'd say, Adam Driver, was that all of the actors feel like they're acting. They don't feel like actual characters. I mean, Lady Gaga, for example. I never once saw Patrizia Reggiani. I just saw Lady Gaga in Gucci clothes doing somewhat of an Italian accent that often strays into Eastern European, wearing kind of, well, yeah, not great wigs, shall we say. And it never worked. I just didn't buy her performance. And the same goes for Al Pacino and Jeremy Irons. They're doing accents, they're hamming it up, but I don't see a character within their work. Adam Driver does a pretty decent job. Like, it's by no means his best work by far, but at least I saw the character of Maurizio and what he was going for. It's very, very much inspired by the whole Michael Corleone act, where he doesn't really give two hoots about the family business and then becomes so invested in it by the end that he's very much changed as a person. That worked because you had a character and you had an arc. And Adam Driver did a lot of work to get you invested in that character. I didn't feel that with any of the other performances. Especially Jared Leto. I give up. I I don't know why he has this incessant need to want to create such over-the-top performances, such caricatures that you fail to take the movie seriously. You fail to take his character seriously. I'm just confused as to how we got this. Like, did he get a different script from the rest of the actors? Was he pitched like a different film? Was he high? Was Ridley Scott high? Am I high? It's a preposterous performance. It's so over the top that he may as well be screaming down the camera, "Hello everyone, look at me, I'm acting." The accent is horrible, the prosthetics make him look like Mario got stung by a jellyfish, and the most frustrating part of it all is that the character of Paolo could have been very endearing. He's constantly shit on, he's never taken seriously, and he's absolutely shafted the entire time, when all he wants is just appreciation and respect and acceptance. And Leto's performance takes all of that material away because he's swanning around going boof and going very high-pitched and doing an Italian. It's the most stereotypical representation I've seen of an Italian man, woman, person thing. It's... oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. House of Gucci really wasn't for me. If you can get on board with what it's aiming for, all the power to you. There's a few good moments, but I just don't think Ridley Scott was the right fit. His direction hurts the film tonally, and that pacing feels borderline criminal at points. The acting is a real mismatch, with most of these talented leads never pinning down their character and settling for big, loud Italian stereotypes. It's a hard pass from me. Purely because there are good elements to it, and I don't think it is a total car crash, it's just not my cup of tea, I would give House of Gucci a 4 out of 10. So, those were my thoughts on Tick Tick Boom and House of Gucci. Tell me, have you had a chance to see these films yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.